Howdy, howdy, y'all. I'm Kurtis Sunset.
And I'm Leah Halston.
And this is Weathering Rainbows. Well, howdy, Miss Halston.
Let's go for a walk on the Rainbow Trail.
Oh no, the last time you forgot the umbrellas and got us into a whole heap of trouble.
I won't forget this time. Let's go. Oh my, those sirens. I feel stormy weather moving in.
Girl, that ain't men it's raining. That's sequins and stones.
And we ain't got no umbrella. We better run.
Glad we had each other to weather the rainbows. Howdy, y'all, and welcome back to Weathering Rainbows, Season 3. And this is a very special episode. We are going to talk a lot about animation, because we know there's so many awesome animation nerds out there, kind of like us on occasion. Leah is supporting the lovely Marvel comics.
It's the only thing I could find in my closet that had some kind of animation on it. So even though I'm a huge anime fan, I mean, there's an anime and animation. So animation.
Right. Yeah. Anime is a type of animation. So, and I am supporting a look that you have probably seen in our new animation intro that we released on our season finale of last season. But today we actually get to talk with the creator of our animation. So that's really exciting. And I think it's going to be an episode everyone will love. For this opener, though, I thought it would be fun for us to talk about our favorite cartoons growing up. So what kind of cartoons did you watch?
Okay, so I'm traditional. I grew up in my household watching Bugs Bunny, Woody Woodpecker, Scooby-Doo.
Yes.
Those were the classics. The Bugs Bunny show, Daffy, Tweety. Those were things that I grew up now. Now, as an adult, my favorite my favorite cartoon or animation is like more raunchy, like South Park.
Oh yes,
I love South Park. I'm going to tell you, they get away with so much shit on South Park. I watched, so HBO Max has the whole series of them. So I'm at work trying to work, but I'm watching South Park because it's such a trip, South Park, Family Guy.
But South Park always has that nice happy ending though, where there's this long monologue of just this truth-speaking enlightenment moment. I love that.
I don't know what episode you watch because listen, they tear those celebrities apart. One of my favorite episodes is I think Oprah. They did something on Oprah, and then some stuff was coming out her vagina that was talking and stuff. I was like, they do people so wrong.
And George Clooney actually, didn't he want to be on that episode, and he begged them, and so they made him a dog, and all he could do was bark.
There's the Tom Cruise, is that his name? Tom Cruise come out the closet episode.
Oh my gosh!
Ben Affleck, they hit hard on some people. South Park. What else? Family Guy.
Michael Jackson, when they did that.
Oh, Michael Jackson, they did him so bad. They did him so bad. The nose, and then hanging a baby out the window. They do some crazy stuff on there. They talk a lot about politics. I'm gonna just say they tackle some things in a comedic way, but it's they went hard on some stuff. Family Guy is another one. Bob's Burger.
Yep.
I do I don't know some of the things like Chowder. Have you ever heard of Chowder?
I have not.
Chowder is on adult network. So Chowder, there's some other ones I like. But their cartoons have come a long way.
Oh yeah. Animation in general has come such a long way.
Yeah. What were your favorites?
I like growing up, I was very much into Rugrats. Like that was my go-to, my whole bedroom's decorated in Rugrats, my curtains. Like I was one of those weird kids that like had an obsession. And
I really feel old because I was in my 20s, 30s when Rugrats came out. So you talk about Rugrats, Lord have mercy.
All right. Well, and now it's like becoming popular again.
Yeah.
Like there's a whole new like series of Rugrats. And so like all these kids are like, we love Rugrats.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I did too. So, but I'm an OG, you know? But I also I was like huge into business even as a kid.
Yeah.
Like I would buy and sell things all the time. And so like I would literally like Coke cans and stuff, I would crush cans and go and take them and sell them for recycling. And I was like collecting VHS Disney movies as like an 8-year-old, and I had like all of them.
Yeah.
And obviously that turned into a very poor investment. I didn't see the trend of DVDs and Netflix and stuff, but that's what I collected as a kid was like Disney movies and that sort of stuff.
It's so weird because I just, as a 30-year-old, I think I watched Snow White, the cartoon, for my first time in my 30s, and I kind of laughed at it because like her voice and just the animation of it, they made her. I was like, okay, this is a children's cartoon, and she's like, oh, like Marilyn Monroe, like, you know, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, when you go back and watch these things, you were like, is this a kid's cartoon?
Well, in the originals, they weren't really made for kids.
Yeah.
Like Snow White was not really like made for kids at the time. It was made for adults just as much because it was like the first part of animation.
Yeah.
It's the first that anybody really saw.
I mean, it was
actually was the very first one I ever saw was Snow White.
I mean, honey,
that's interesting that you brought that up.
Adult cartoon porn, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, honey. One female and 7 dwarfs.
Mm-hmm. Which I don't think they're even allowed to say that anymore. Like in any release, like they can't say dwarfs anymore. What? So I don't know what they're gonna do. Like Snow White,
Snow White.
I think it's just going to be called Snow White.
Snow White,
so,
the movie is like Snow White and the Huntsman. You know, maybe they just might say Snow White and her men.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, it's
Snow White and 7 random men.
Right. I mean, we've adapted it to Snow White and the 7 Drag Queens with Tony Lewis's stuff. So we don't need no dwarves anymore here. So.
Yes, Snow White and yes.
Yeah. So, but Disney's has been getting a lot of negativity from LGBTQ community because of all the stuff going on in Florida right now. And Disney actually donated to a lot of those politicians that supported the Don't Say Gay bill. And it's actually passed at this point all the way up through the House and the Senate. And so it's going to be in law. It's just crazy that we're still dealing with some of this kind of stuff. But I know Disney's really been on the hook on supporting these people. The other thing, a few years ago, everybody always talked about how all of Disney's villains basically have a gay persona. They're all based on LGBTQ people, their type of sassiness or their type of just things that they do. Because I think even Ursula was adapted from was it the Divine?
Yeah, Divine. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So there's all those things. And who would you be? Which Disney villain would you be if you were a Disney villain?
That's I think I would be a little Maleficent and then a little Cruella, which almost is kind of like the same. Well, I love like Maleficent's fashion.
I'm gonna call you Muella.
I love that. Muella. That sounds good.
Muella. Cruella.
Muella. Muella.
Awesome.
Ella. Yes. I love the elegance and so again, I'm not, when I think about Maleficent, I'm thinking about Angelina Jolie, as a non-binary person. I don't even remember Maleficent in the cartoon, but I'm thinking of Maleficent from the movie because Angelina sold it for me.
Absolutely.
I would have to go back and watch the cartoon Maleficent, but it's just her elegance and the grace and her wittiness that, and then Cruella was such a fashion icon, So I feel like I combine myself, with both of them.
I loved the live action remake of Cruella. I thought that was such a good movie. So if you haven't seen that,
I have not seen that one yet.
It's is it Emma Stone? I think that's in it.
And I love Emma
playing
Stone.
Cruella.
Yeah, I love her. I haven't seen it yet. That may be something I need to put on my list when I get time. Yeah. And now, who would you be?
So I would like everybody always tells me that I am this character, like to a T, like this is just who I am. So I think they based this character off of me. And it's a little known Disney movie. And that is, everybody always says that I remind them of Emperor Cusco, like from Emperor's New Groove, the llama.
Oh yeah,
like that's what they, because he's like the, you're ruining my groove and all that kind of stuff. So that's who I would be. I guess I'd be the llama Emperor Cusco.
Yeah,
for my villain.
That's another one I would have to
Plus,
go back.
Like he's got like a redeeming quality. Like he's always like got that sassy and like smart ass type of stuff, but he's got that like niceness at the end. So like I feel like that's my character.
Yeah.
Like I'm always gonna be the sweet person at the end, know? But, so another fun question I just thought of that I want to know is if you like, so say you are a cartoon, which animated character would you try to like hook up or date with?
Ooh. I would definitely try to hook up with. I'm trying to think of the characters. I think it's his name. I'm just trying. From Beauty and the Beast. Gaston.
Oh yes, Gaston. Yeah. So you like the muscly?
Yes, he was a big lumberjack. He was big. Like, I don't think he was a lumberjack, but he was big.
He like swung around axes and stuff, so we'll call him that. He's close enough. But I could see you with him. Yeah. Like he's got that bad boy, total jerk mentality too. So I feel like you could go for that.
Yeah, I definitely would not be a Prince Charming type of girl because like I need a bad boy.
Yeah. See, I'm the exact opposite. I would go for like Prince Eric.
Okay.
He's just got that look and beauty and
yeah. See, I like him more rugged.
That's what I do.
Rugged. Yeah, I need a little bit more rugged and manly, and definitely.
I mean, my guy could sell a boat, so he's got some motion in the ocean type of we. That's why I'm gonna pick him. I'm gonna go with
that. Oh my god! Now I want to go back and watch all of these cartoons.
We're gonna have a remake in season 4 of like new animated characters we're obsessed over.
Yeah.
Yeah. So today we do get to talk to our animator. And if you don't follow him, I would highly suggest it. It's at Drawn by Christian, and I'll flash that on the screen here. And he is a great animator. I've seen him do several different types of shows. He's won several awards for Swirly Straw Productions, as well as he is about to release a brand new animation that is all about it's about a zoo, but the main character is based on drag queens and the confidence of being a drag queen. And so I think that's incredible that he's like adding that component to animation today, and it's going to be a full-length film. So yeah, I'm really excited. Anything you want to tell him before we kick over?
I'm excited about this. Just to see myself in the cartoon was funny, and I saw me.
Oh yeah. And I think you could be a voiceover person. Like, I really do, because like you got y'all, when we were filming this, so we got to tell this story before we go. So like, if y'all didn't know, like, there's some sirens in our opening. Like, it sounds like sirens, and she literally said something on the lines of like, do you hear those sirens or something? And exactly at that moment, like, a police car goes whooshing by her house that's like blasting sirens. Yes. And I was like, how did you summon that?
Yeah, it was crazy. And like I said, I listened to it for a while, and to me, it makes me smile, and I enjoy it. I never thought in the million years that I would be voicing myself as a cartoon, so it was good. I definitely would voice myself for a cartoon. I want to be like a animal or something. I feel like I can be like what was it, Ice Age or something.
Are you gonna? What is that? I don't even know what kind of animal that is. That like always chases the nut around. Is that what the one you're gonna play?
Not the squirrel. No. No, I could see myself being like a jaguar, or. Oh yeah, I could be a llama. I don't know. My voice, I don't know. Maybe a cricket or a goat or something. I don't know. I want to be something weird, like a brown recluse or something.
I love it. Child, see, I would not be. Exactly. Yeah, there's no way I would be in the movie Ice Age, because I would definitely die immediately, like the beginning of that movie. So hate the cold. I know. But
I don't even know what a brown recluse would be in a what I would be like in a cartoon. I'd be like, hello, what are you doing? I am the brown recluse, and my name is Brownie. I'm gonna bite you. I'm gonna bite you.
That's it. That whenever we film the grand movie Don't Sleep later this season, we're adding an animated brown recluse.
Don't sleep.
That's going to be in the movie. And then the brown recluse comes across the screen.
Yeah.
On that note, we got to kick over to this interview. So here is our interview with Christian, our animator, who we love for doing our animation. Oh my gosh, it was so good. Thank you so much, Christian. We're going to send Christian some love. Yes. Got to get him, all that. Yay, Christian.
All the love.
We'll see you all. Howdy, y'all, and welcome to the interview portion of Weathering Rainbows, where we get to interview some really cool people out there doing some amazing things for our community. Today, we have Christian, who created our opening animation, which if you've seen that, and I know you have because all of you have commented and loved it, and you've wanted to know where to find this guy, well, now you get to hear from him directly. So I'm going to toss it over to Christian to introduce himself and tell us a little bit about you.
Well, thank you, Kurtis. Hi, my name is Christian Gallardo. I am a 2D animator. I love to draw. I have been drawing for like my whole life. It is just a place where I like to get lost in. I'm from Austin, Texas. I was born in San Antonio, so That's basically a little further away, but I used to live there since until I turned 14. I moved here to Austin around 2012 before I began high school. So it was a major change. That was around the time when I started learning how to do animation. So animation is basically my life. I love to watch movies all the time. Love to watch TV all the time. That's me. But I also like to create my own
Yeah.
content. It is a fun
Yeah.
process.
Well, you are from Leah's home state, so I know she's got a
Whoop.
special place for you in her heart already.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
she's a Texas born person too. So tell us a little bit about what it was like to grow up in Texas.
Well, born and raised in San Antonio, growing up, I was just always, I wasn't very social. I always drew all the time. I was always stuck in my head. I was a very imaginative person. I love to play indoors, outdoors, but I'm always mostly playing with my toys, or, I have a drawing book and I'm always doodling. That was just how I was growing up.
So I saw in your bio you came out around the age of 18. So what was that like, kind of living and coming to terms with yourself as a gay male?
I always knew that. I guess it all began when I moved here to Austin and I started high school. Like, not only that I was learning animation, but I started to feel like I was getting attracted to other boys entering high school. And I thought to myself, it's just a phase. I'm expected to grow out of it. However, I never really dated a lot of girls around the time, except I did go to prom with one, but she was more of a friend. So, years went by and I turned 18 years old and I finally graduated. But afterwards, like the moment after, I was still struggling with my sexuality because, even though I was attracted to men, I wasn't too sure how to navigate the feelings. So I had a hard time explaining this, like, to nobody. I didn't want to tell anybody that I'm a gay person. This is who I really am.
And what was the reaction of people in your family and community?
Well, they were the first I told my parents, and not long after I came out to them, they were surprised at first, but they were very supportive of it. And since then, they've always, like, supported me, being the gay man who I was, try to understand more on how to move further with my sexuality. I mean, heck, they even went to Austin Pride, which is a parade. They went with me in 2018, 2019, so that was really fun. As for, like, friends, most of them graduated before I realized I was gay, and when I reconnected with them, they were really cool with it.
So, did you have any like preconceived notions about gay world before coming out?
Honestly, I knew nobody that was gay in my family. I didn't have any friends. Well, I didn't have any friends, and that would be open up about this sort of thing. So it was really nothing to get to have a conversation about with anybody. I guess I would be like, see it on TV of some sort, and either they are just jokes, which I honestly didn't get, or something, or just anything in particular. Like, there wasn't a lot of
Yeah,
representation growing up. So but then,
yeah,
entering into high school, I started to see more representation. I started to, like, be really interested in that.
yeah. So, what types of representation did you start seeing after high school that kind of taught you like what it was? What I mean, because if you were like me, I didn't even know what really the word gay meant until I was in college. So at what point did you actually start making those realizations, and like what explained it to you?
Hmm, that's really tricky. It rarely appeared often on TV or on Netflix. I mean, I was always just watching shows that didn't, like, center on that sort of thing. I guess one good possibility would just be, like, characters that could possibly be gay, like in Disney movies. I was always like, people would say Maleficent could be gay, and I was like, oh, really? That's really cool. And sometimes there are the obvious ones. They say
Every
Ursula
Disney
could be,
villain I feel like could be gay.
yeah, they say
So
Frollo or Ursula. She was based on a drag queen, which I really love. People could say Scar is gay or Frollo is gay, and I was just like, wow, that's so interesting. I'm just like the idea that these characters could
yeah.
be not what you think they are. Mhm.
Yeah, most of the Disney villains was actually created by a queer animator from Germany.
Exactly.
So
Yes,
that's a little
yes.
fun
They
tidbit
made
for
a doc.
everybody out there.
They made a documentary about him.
I want to talk to you a little bit about your own animation journey. What things did you start drawing as a kid?
Oh my goodness, I would draw basically anything that would exist. I would just doodle, doodle, doodle nonstop 24/7. That was before I started getting putting a little narrative into things and started telling stories.
You have won several awards with 5 friends of yours. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
For snack attacks, we got 5 food teenagers, the red hot rebel hot dog, Oscar Bun, the soda nerd who is into chemistry, Stanley Fizz, Kimberly Popshake, the popcorn who's super pristine and just wants to be typical popular girl, Tim Popshake, her stepbrother, who is the very macho, egotistical milkshake, all about working out, showing his muscles to the ladies, and the socially awkward basket case chocolate bar, Nick Bar. They love to go to the Balboa Theater. They're always hanging out, which is where the film is set in. The Balboa to this day is like 96 years old, so shout out to the Balboa. I have visited the Balboa for about 2 times. One on my first trip at 18 to San Fran, and my most recent trip back in November of 2021 from my 24th birthday.
Did I see where you actually created like clips and stuff for movie theaters that play before like movies go on with these characters?
When I went to come visit, surprisingly, I gave them the shout out that I was in town, and they told me they wanted to play my recent short Balboa is Rad at the theater. I was surprised, and it was such a great honor. I arrived, they all knew about the short, and to this day probably they still play it in front of their trailers. I remember going to see it on the big screen. It was amazing to see my characters who go to this theater be played at this theater.
Honestly, like I think it's the perfect fit for almost playing before any movie. Like I think more movie theaters need to adapt to bring this on to play beforehand. I want to talk about your new projects that you have coming up, and one of them is going to be big for the LGBTQ community. Just seeing the little clips that I have seen, we're going to show one of those, and then I want you to talk a little bit about Birds of Amuse. Can you give us some feedback about that?
Sure thing. Birds of Amuse has been brand new to me. After Snack Attacks was done in 2020, it was time to focus on the next project. So late 2019, I previously took something off the shelves. It was just a small little concept that occurred to me. I would guess in 2018, I just kept drawing these particular exotic birds, and I just did nothing with it. I wasn't quite interested in just doing that. I just wanted to finish my first movie. And late in 2019, I brought it back, and I just looked more into it. And I'm like, why do I want to make a movie about these 4 birds? And I was just doing some research on them, and I was so intrigued on what they do in the wild, particularly flamingos, for example. Birds do a lot of interesting behaviors. They do a lot of mainly the mating rituals. It's like they're doing a performance, and there's like no audience there. But this is what they do in like in the wild, and we're not there to see it.
Yeah.
And the only way we could see it is if we go to the zoo. And what could be a great example is the zoo I grew up visiting in San Antonio, the San Antonio Zoo. It was like going to Disney World as a kid, and I've been to Disney World like twice. So
Yeah.
going there, it was just exciting to me because I loved animals, especially like growing up at like 3 or 4 years old. And I went like almost all the time. I always loved seeing the animals. The flamingos were my favorite part because they were right there in front of you when you walked in. It just like goes to show that it's like an introduction to what I'm about to see for the rest of the day. And I'd like to thank the flamingos for that. And coincidentally, I remember at 3 when I was learning to draw, my mom taught me how to draw flamingo. It was
Oh,
one of the first drawings I remember. So I like love that moment.
yeah.
And going back to the idea of the movie, I thought to myself, what if these birds were at that zoo? And what if these birds were to perform? And not only at the zoo, I thought, what if they were to perform at a drag show? The flamingo would be performing at a drag show. So I looked into the story and started writing a script and started writing more, bringing in more characters, and then here it was, Birds of Amuse. I just decided this is the concept. This is going to be the movie.
Yeah, I love some of the characters so far. The flamingos, the monkeys, which is voiced by one of our mutual friends, I believe. So we'll give. Is Rob Flo still going to be the band?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
guess.
he is the soundtrack of the movie. He's going to be these three howlers. Yes.
That's awesome.
What you mean? You mentioned the flamingo. That is Felix. Felix is the main protagonist. And shout out to Dustin White because Dustin is the voice behind Felix. Very talented actor. And Felix is shown to be this character who's like trying to discover himself, and he is a queer character. He's gay, and he loves being himself. He loves the zoo that he lives in. He's always flying around and saying, and like he literally stands out of the flock that's in his exhibit. He can just fly out and just go wherever he wants. Like he says hello to all his other bird friends that live in the bird exhibit. He says hi to his friend Anthony, the anteater, all that stuff. And he likes to go get cotton candy from the concessions because what makes flamingos pink? It's cotton candy.
That's awesome. That's great.
And you mentioned the howler, and you mentioned the howlers that Rob Flo is behind. Thanks, Rob Flo. They're the soundtrack. They're like supposed to be this Backstreet Boy type of group. They don't necessarily sound like the Backstreet Boys, but they're this trio that just swing around their exhibit and just like because if you ever heard a howler monkey, they are honestly the loudest, most annoying creature in the world. But these three have like their octaves are like baritone, bass, and tenor. They work together as a trio. And and in the plot, without giving, of course, not giving into spoilers,
right?
Felix Felix is always so intrigued by people coming to visit him, and they pull out, their little boxes. That's what they call them. They don't know what phones are, so they're like, why do they have these little boxes, and why are they pointing them at my face? And then one night he decides enough is enough of wondering of having these questions. I'm gonna fly out into the city that's outside my zoo and see where they go, see what people do. And then after that, he flies into a club that's hosting a drag show. And he's in the dressing room and he is immediately in love. He loves just the art of drag. And he himself does the best he can, put makeup, put on costume and everything. And once he's on stage, I mean, you tell me, if you were to go to a drag show and a flamingo just pooped right in and started doing its ritual dance, what would be your first instinct?
How did Leah get out?
Honestly, yeah, you would exactly, of course.
No, actually, like I love this idea, and I think you picked the perfect characters to like represent this like queer embodiment, like a flamingo that like escapes the zoo to go perform. And like, because I mean, I know I've seen more feathers on stage than anything else other than maybe like sequins, like, so I think it's the perfect character. I love what you're doing by incorporating like a zoo, a real life zoo, like, that people can kind of relate to. And I love it. I cannot wait to see this film. And yeah, so I don't have enough praise to give you for it. And I'm looking forward to seeing all the clips that are to come. I think you also picked one of the perfect voices for the Howlers. I can't think of anybody other than Rob Flo to play something that wild. So
honestly, he was the perfect candidate.
Yeah. I do want to talk about some of the awards that you've won and how you applied for those and different things like that for other animators out there that might be interested in learning from you. So can you talk about that process?
Sure. So going back again, I was 17 when I wanted to make this decision to just make a TV episode. And normally you would have to be my age or older to like have a studio and have a bunch of people working with you in order to do that. You'd have to have a network for that. But there's not, but I think of it as just making a simple short film. Like I love watching just normal short films online and stuff like that. So I just decided enough's enough. I'm just gonna make my characters come to life because I can't wait. They can't be just hanging in the pages of my books no more.
Yeah.
So, I was so passionate. If you have a passion, you build it. You build it no matter how small, because it's going to be your first project and it will leave an impact.
Yeah.
You deserve to like be artistic.
Yeah, I think that's incredible. You did this at that age and without any real help. I mean, like that's incredible that you put forth basically a feature film, length film type of thing at that age. So I'm looking forward to seeing everything that comes from that. I am going to post the link right here at Drawn by Christian. Go follow this guy because you're going to see some amazing, amazing work from him when it comes to animation. I hope he doesn't go down the Disney route because, like, I feel like you're just going to have your own theme park, in 50 years. Like, the Christian theme park, I like that better. Maybe you won't support, anti-gay politicians out there.
You should support queer artists, like my shirt says.
Exactly. I love that.
How it is.
So,
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the fact that we're getting some up and coming queer animators that can kind of, put that to the test. And I saw where Disney did actually withdraw all funding from political campaigns until they do a better job. So I do at least want to point that out for our listeners. All right. Well, I do want to jump into some of the big segments of our show. Obviously, as an LGBTQ plus individual, you have had some what I call learning experiences or some comedic stories that have happened in your life based on the fact that you are gay. So I would love to hear a story about a time whenever you got into a heap of trouble.
I can name something that was recent. Now, it wasn't too troubling, but it was rather not a bad day. I mean, not a bad night. It was just a strikeout. So when I went to come visit San Francisco, that around that time when I went to the Balboa and they played my movie, I was turning 24 at the time, and that night of, I went with my family, so we couldn't really find I couldn't really find any gay clubs nearby where I was at. I was near the wharf area, and my dad wanted to tag along. We both get some beer and stuff like that. So there was one 2 blocks away from our hotel, and we went there. Not so packed, but was very casual. We both sit there, got our brew, and just just got a beer, and just talking and everything. I was looking around, that sort of thing. He was just looking at his beer, being a chill dad. Then the bartender comes up and he starts asking, where are you guys from? He was actually getting it. I was like, he's flirting with me. Oh wow, awesome. I tell him we're from Texas, but I'm sitting here, and then not a moment after, he's staring at my dad, and I'm like, are you kidding me? He was totally asking my dad questions, asking my own dad like about what he does, and I'm like here just being like, okay, I'll just sip my beer. He started calling us his Texas boys and everything, and I'm like, I'm flattered, but can you just call me Texas boy, please? And
that is great.
I can't get over it. And he's even asking, so my dad, what hotel are you staying at?
Oh my goodness!
I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And I'm like, can we
so
just?
How did your dad react to this?
My dad kept it in and just rolled with it, even though yeah, my dad isn't gay, but he just rolled with it. He's being really nice and kind. And the moment we left, I'm like, I can't wait to tell mom. And then we both start laughing. My mom found it hilarious.
That is great.
I was just like, I was just like, goodness gracious, I can't wait to move here and just go everywhere, you know,
Yeah,
because San
that is
Francisco
awesome.
is San Francisco's my favorite city, and yeah, I have not been to Europe yet, but I'm still finding like Europe, mainly Italy, is my favorite places to go.
Yeah. Well, that is a proud dad moment. So shout out to your
I love
dad
my
for
dad. Yeah,
being able to
thank you, Dad.
get through that and go with the flow there. So I love
Yeah, my
parents that are
dad's the
able to
best.
do that. Well, we do another segment on this show called the Do's and Don'ts. Basically, that is where you get to give us advice on anything you would like to talk about. So, what are your do's and don'ts?
Of course. I guess I have a couple. I have a couple twos here. Going back. You don't have to be an artist, but if you're very passionate about something, you start building it. You create it because what you do, like whatever project it is, no matter how small, it will leave a huge impact. Another thing would be just represent yourself in your own creativity. You have the right to tell your story how the best you can. Your life deserves to be heard of, to be seen. And as for don'ts, just sometimes the real world can punch you, and you want to punch back, but it's okay if you find things about you that you don't think are normal. But you know what? There's no such thing as normal. However you are, that's who you are. You love yourself for that. As young adults, there's like so many milestones we have to get to, like graduate from college and start our careers. It could be difficult getting to where you need to be. So we got to be strong and persistent. And don't lose the magic. There's a thing I like to call Imagik. It's like imagine and magic. That's kind of like a little slogan I have for my little studio here.
Love it.
And Imagik is like, your mind can be set to anything you want, and that's where the magic begins. So there's like magic within you, like within your heart, within your brain. It's there. It really exists. It's a little
I
silly to
love that.
say, but it's just my way of saying you can do this. You're artistic.
That's great.
You're
You just named
smart.
the episode. That I'm gonna call the episode a magic animation. That's awesome. I love that. So
Of course, I'm gonna have to like it. Yeah, the wording is really, it looks a little difficult, but I'll be sure to make sure it's spelled right.
Yeah, I love
It's
that. That's
crazy.
great. Honestly, that's some of the most solid advice I feel like somebody's given on this show so far. Just uh, very good, solid advice. So obviously, what don'ts do you have for people?
Oh yes, the don'ts. Hmm. I'd say this is a little tricky. I was all over. I was having a lot of ideas, and I was like, which one is the right one? Hmm. Well, an obvious one is just to be like it. Don't run from your fears. You got to face them. In order to grow. I've had a lot of fears. To get where I am with, especially while making this project. It was a long time project, and over I kept going down a roller coaster of things just like scaring me about what people will think about it. And you got to face the fact that there's going to be some negativity coming towards you, but in order to get through that, the positives start coming in. So don't be afraid. Don't run from your fears. Go right towards them, and as soon as you face them, they're gonna be gone. They're gonna be gone.
That's a big one for me right now. I felt that on a deep level. So because I'm in this, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but I'm in this little like game show thing on YouTube, and it's terrifying. So definitely totally out of
I've
my
heard of it. I
comfort
saw.
zone.
Yeah.
Big time out of my comfort zone. I'm definitely
Mm.
I've already gotten a lot of great comments, but there's a lot of negative as well. So it's like, but I'm doing my best in facing these fears. So I completely agree. You got to do that.
Another one, like, it's pretty much almost as similar as to facing your fears, but do not hold in your emotions. It is very toxic. It's a very toxic thing to really hold in, like mostly your sadness and your joy. If people are gonna like criticize you for the way how excited you feel, or even like or how sad you feel, especially crying, it is important to not hold that in. It'll really like bring a negative effect on you. You'll start to be a little content. I used to feel that sort of way, and like I went through a lot. I went through such a big journey, especially like after COVID started and I got this final project finished. My emotions were really bottled up because I really wanted to get this done. And with nothing else to do, I decided to just like let my emotions out on how I really feel about the situation. I finally got this idea done. Now it's time to move to the next thing. And because I cried, I got happy. Birds of Amuse came to me.
Yeah.
That's what pushed me forward. My last don't would be to don't forget about the people who brought you in this, well, like not brought you in this world, but those who have supported you along the way. Even if it's like anything minor, like friends that you haven't seen in forever but have always rooted you along the way, don't forget about them. Don't forget about like if your family has always supported you and have pushed you, even if they push you so hard that you have a hard time, even yourself have a hard time doing it. Just so you know, they love and care for you. Like my parents, they love and care for me, and they really want to see me shine, and they've always done that since I came into this world. So, and
Amen to
even
that.
even your like
Yeah.
extended family, don't forget where you came from. Don't forget that your family's gone through a lot of stuff. So it's important to understand that they've been there.
Yeah. And honestly, like you are the perfect type of candidate for this show, the kind of people that we love to highlight. And it's because we seek out people that have just like amazing characters, that can tell their life story and tell, what they're able to do. And the things that you're doing, the way that you help people. And that's one of the main reasons I'm looking forward specifically to Birds of Amuse is you are well spoken and you're going to have a great script for this. And I think you're going to highlight the queer experience a lot better than some of the visibility efforts that we've got out there. And you're going to do it through animation, which is unheard of, really. We still haven't really hit that frontier. Um, there are some other things that I will highlight, that there's another animation out there, I think, that's being in the works called Maxi Wow, which is about a superhero. And then there's also, I just saw where there's a new video game, I think called Drag Her. That
Drag her.
is, yeah, it's like an
Wow.
animation video game, which I know those are kind of different, but I just think it's awesome that we're having more and more of that type of visibility out there, especially in animation. So,
Yeah, it
um,
was such a journey. It was like so different for me to make a show with queer representation, and somehow I see myself in the character Felix. Like I'm a gay man, but honestly, like I still try to I'm still figuring things out. Like I still feel like I'm getting adjusted to it, and it's been probably like 6 years since I came
wow.
out, and it's but that's a part of me that I really love, and I also love this part of me of being an animator. And when I look at the character Felix that honestly I was like writing this character was quite a journey. This character is just honestly he's a flamingo. He's not a human being, but he wants to feel represent. It's important to represent that even animals want to be represented, and he's a character who's figuring things out too. And that's just what I love to write about. It's a character who wants to be a part of pop cult, not just like pop culture itself, but just be a part of like human environment.
Yeah,
That's
very
and
real
it's
life.
like he wants to be like be equal as well. And it's strange, but it goes to show that everyone loves someone for who they want to be.
Yeah, very real life characters. I love it. Um, uh, you are writing about some difficult topics to convey, and you're having to convey them through art. You're not having multiple people being able to like go on screen and convey that. So, who kind of inspired you to do some of those type of topics, and like who are some of your bigger influencers when it comes to animation?
Well, again, growing up as a kid, not much representation as I've noticed, but coincidentally, after I came out, after graduating at 18, that was in 2016, and I remember before then we had the film Zootopia, and that's a really important Disney film because
Great
it
film.
centers around these Disney animators, they really put their heart and souls into writing characters and writing about the subject of prejudice.
Yeah.
And after coming out, I remember watching this documentary about, the directors and the animators and everybody behind the film, of just their journey to make this film a possibility. And one of the directors, his name is Byron Howard. He directed the Zootopia, but he also directed Encanto. And we don't talk about Bruno. Yeah, that's
right.
I said it. And
Yeah.
he also directed Bolt and Tangled. So
Wow.
we've seen some of those. He's behind
I love
it.
Tangled.
Yes, and everyone loves Encanto, and everyone still loves Zootopia. And he was like really proud of this movie. And at the end of the documentary, he he said that he himself is a gay man. And I was surprised. I was like, he's saying he's a gay man, and I was like, that really made me feel better, like, because again, I was starting to get adjusted into this. This was like my first time seeing myself as a gay man, and I had a hard time struggling. And then he said that he himself is gay and that he made this movie, and it just made me feel like, wow, I can still be an animator. And I was 18. I was really getting into the idea of what my life is going to be like, and because he said that, I felt more inspired, and I thank him.
Yeah. I think that's always like, those are the best examples of role models, are the people that we see. And he was incredibly brave to come out at that time, like that still wasn't very accepted. So like being able to see those people in especially the professions that we're in is always just such an important thing. um, Obviously it's a very touchy topic right now with all the don't say gay bill and all of that
Hmm.
kind of stuff, that we're having to kind of withdraw a little bit. But
It's a little
just
ironic for talking about Disney when we got all this
right.
nonsense going on. But
Yeah.
I still think of. But again, he's a director, and I'm hearing a lot of animators from Pixar and everybody like standing up against this, because they deserve
Yeah.
to be heard. They deserve to tell stories to be heard.
Yeah. Well, and it was actually just on that topic, it was a lot of the queer animators that worked for Disney that pushed so hard that Disney said that they were not going to donate to political campaigns at this point until they got a better structure. So
That's
I
right.
think that just also shows how queer animators are making such a huge impact. I mean, if you're able to move something like Disney policy, that's incredible. So definitely always speak up and always be yourself, and you might inspire the next animator down the road.
Well, that's really great to hear. I feel great. That feels really nice.
What advice, final wrap up advice, do you have for rural youth out there?
Well, as like myself, we're young. Like as young adults, there's so many milestones you have to get to. You're in high school, you're in middle school. Who knows, elementary, But if you're graduating from college and you're starting your career, it's gonna be a bumpy ride. It's gonna get difficult because where you need to be, where you want to be, you just have to be very persistent, and you just got to be patient. It's going to be hard to figure yourself out. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. And you know going again, if there's if there's a story you want to tell, if there's something you if there's a book you want to write, a movie you want to make, or anything you want to give to the public, to make changes, to make the world a better place, do it now. You don't have to be that professional. You can just do it
Love
yourself, and
that.
it's really going to change the world.
Love that. So start now. If you are a rural youth out there, don't hesitate. Just go for it. And you're going to learn, you're going to make failures and everything along the way. I know if Christians like me, we've had our fair share of things that did not go well, but that was all a learning process. And, so like start now, just go for it. And, and then always feel free to reach out to people that have gone before you to help you out. I could not make this show without people like Christian who make animation for us. That's, like all these people together is what makes the world go around. So if you're a queer youth out there, reach out, and we're always here to help. With that, though, what we will do is we will turn to our final questions. We do a segment on this show called the Pot of Gold. It is a time for me to ask you one final question, anything under the sun, and you to do that as well back to me. So I will let you start.
Okay. Well, name me a film or an animated film that like pushed you to like inspired you to where you are right now, like something you like one that you grew up with, one that you really admire. I'd like to know that.
Man, this is hard because there are so many good ones that I love that have inspired me in a lot of different ways. But I'm gonna say one of my all-time favorites. It's an older one, Sword in the Stone. And the reason for that is actually that was one of the first ones. Like, my grandma was huge, like she loved animation, and she would watch that with me. And it was her that was like always using that, like, you can be anything you want to be. Like, don't ever hesitate to go for it. Kind of like what your advice was today was, you never know, you could be, the kid that goes and removes the sword that makes you king, like that sort of mentality. And she would always say things like, you're going to be my first millionaire, like, stuff like that, and it's those kind of things as grandparents and parents. Like, if you sit down with a kid and watch an animation and you can relate that into real world experience and push them and help them strive, that's what makes those like animations just mean so much more to you. And so, like, now I make all of my nieces and nephews watch Sword in the Stone, even though it's an oldie animation, and they're like, why are we watching this? So so yeah, I would say
Oldies
that
are
one by
goodies.
far. Oh yeah,
Oldies are goodies. Yeah, for real.
I also just randomly, like, I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but I loved I think they're called the Terry Tunes growing up. If you haven't watched them, you should go check them out because they're oldie goodies too, and they're hilarious. So
Terry Tunes. I'm pretty sure that is like Mighty Mouse. I want to, and the two. What are they? They're birds. I forgot.
There's like Heckle and Jekyll.
Heckle and Jekyll. That's who they are.
Yeah, and possible. Is it Possible Possum? And like I don't know. There's all kinds, but those were some of my favorite all times as growing up. Like, I could watch those for days. But all right, well, I'm going to ask you a question that Leah and I, we have filmed our opener, and we asked two specific fun questions about animation. So it's a double whammy here. One is, which Disney villain do you most closely relate to as a person? And I'll let you answer that one, then I'll make you answer this second part.
Oh goodness. Oh man. Oh whoa. That is tricky. Who I relate to? Huh. There's so many villains out there. Can it be like Pixar's Disney? Can it be a Pixar one? If I think of that. Okay. I'm just gonna like replay. I'm gonna replay a lot in my head. I mean, my goodness. I mean, I got favorites, but ones I relate to. That is a tricky one. That is a tricky one. Huh. I'm gonna say Maleficent. Okay. I'm gonna say Maleficent. Okay. I guess I relate to her. I used to watch Sleeping Beauty. Growing up, that was where like one of my Disney films I used to grow up with all the time. I went to the video store and always get that movie. And my favorite part was Maleficent. Every time she showed up, I would just freak out but love her at the same time. So I relate to her because she's obviously like she's probably a queen. It's hard to identify her, but she rules her own world. And the fact is that she didn't get invited to see Aurora being born. It's not like she took offense at that, but she can just show up wherever she wants. And I kind of just want to show up wherever I want. And because of that, she gets to change the whole world the way she sees it. Not only cursing Sleeping Beauty, but like she can just do anything you want with her magic. She can transform into a dragon. She can, do those thorns. She can do anything she wants. And I'm like, she can like do anything in her power. Nobody cares. that's me. I can just like create whatever I want. I don't know when to like I can, and it'll definitely impact the world. You know, who knows what it's gonna do. Just like I'm talking. I guess I'm talking too malicious here. Talking too evil. I don't know.
It sounds to me like she is right up your alley when it comes to your coin phrase, Imagiks. So,
Imagik, yeah, she.
yeah. So,
exactly. I was gonna say Cruella de Vil because she's such an artistic character, but she's crazy. So, but I love her.
I feel like you're gonna love the opener to this episode. So, because I'm gonna tell you,
oh boy,
Leah and you, I feel like y'all get along quite well.
Really?
So
yeah, we're both from Texas.
Maybe that's the thing. Maybe all y'all Texas people. All right. Well, the second part to that, and I will ask this because I want to hear your answer as well. Obviously, as a gay male, which Disney prince would you go after the most?
Oh, does he have to be a prince? I mean, there's a lot of them.
I don't know, maybe a prince or a king or.
I mean, he can just be
a
character because I can, you're asking who I'd go out with, right? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. Yeah, like which one would you date?
Would I date? I would definitely date Prince Naveen. Prince Naveen from Princess and the Frog.
Love it.
Me and him would have the best nights out all the time. He loves jazz, and I love 80s pop music. I'm stuck in the 80s, but I love jazz. I like just like escaping there, and that's what he loves. He likes everything done for him, and I'll definitely do everything for him. I'll definitely, be just like Tiana. I'll cook for him. That's what I'll do. And we have the same hats and everything.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I was just like, I'm going out with, he's like my go-to guy every Saturday night.
I love that. Yeah, that's awesome. I think you're going to enjoy our opener for sure to hear our answers as well. So
okay.
It's a lot, but I love that. And we've had such a good time with you. And thank you so much for doing our animation for us. It turned out so incredible.
You're most welcome. It was fun to do.
Yeah, it was absolutely incredible. Leah loved it as well, and we talk about it a lot in our opener. But seriously, you are so incredibly gifted. And the turnaround time, I don't know how in the world, like you were like, I'll get this to you next week. And I'm like, what? Like that would take somebody years, I feel like, to do. So incredible work that you're doing out there. So for those that are out there, this is Christian. Go follow Christian at Drawn by Christian on Instagram, and you will see his new film, Birds of Amuse, out hopefully later this year, correct?
Yeah, that's what we're looking at. But in the meantime, I got on my YouTube, Swirly Straw Studios, you can find some clips. There will be new trailers, especially coming on my Instagram. Everything Birds of Amuse to promote this will be coming out throughout that time.
Sweet. Well, we look forward to it, and thank you so much again for coming on our show.
Oh, thanks so much. It was great being here.
Well, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Don't forget to come on back now. I know we all love a little vibration, so if you are not already, go ahead and subscribe to this podcast. And we will surprise you on occasion with a new release vibration in your pocket. But in the meantime, if you find yourself alone or crossing new horizons along the Rainbow Trail, and you need a friend or even a laugh to get you through those dark and stormy nights, holler on out to us at www.weatheringrainbows.com, where you can find shelter in the blogs, videos, and other episodes that will hopefully keep you out of a whole heap of trouble. So until next time, y'all, giddy up, be true to yourself, and make the best of life. And wherever the wild tracks may lead you, may the rainbow always touch your shoulder.